Welcome, welcome. Come on in, grab a seat. Hope you guys are doing well. We are here for our midweek reading. This is our alchemy message where we sort of unpack the lessons of the week and talk about our approach to the work. And so we are reading from the Wild Unknown Alchemy and the Mystical Moments Tarot. So from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, we've got Winter, followed by sublimation, followed by smoke. Underneath winter, we have the strength card. Underneath sublimation, we have Two of Wands. And with smoke, we have Three of Swords. All right, this is a fairly direct and simple reading, I think. We are in the winter season, literally right now, but figuratively, emotionally, elementally, like we're also in that season, spiritually speaking. And I think that there's a real anxiousness in us to want to hurry up and get to spring. Winter has been nothing if not, I got those like notifications coming in and distracting me. Winter's been nothing if not insane, hectic. You know, it's been these worldwide crises that we've just wanted to like get through and grit our teeth and bear it. And I think that there hasn't been as much quiet time to focus on our own inner growth because there's been so much crazy stuff happening out in the world. And so, yes, we do have a responsibility to interact with the world and to, you know, bring light into the world. But our first responsibility and our first purpose is to do the work of elevating and correcting our own soul, our own heart, our own consciousness. So if you go through your whole life worrying about the impact that you're making on other people and out in the world, but you never do the work on yourself, you never do your own healing, you never address like your childhood stuff, you never address like things that with your parents, your attachment styles, and you know, if you have codependency issues, I mean, we're all codependent on a spectrum. So if you never look at any of these things and address them and try to grow them or change them, then you've missed your purpose no matter how much work you do for the outside world. So winter, although we're like, oh, I'm ready for spring, I'm ready to like get out there and have fun and be in the sun, we still need to take advantage of its medicine, and we're not out of winter yet. We've got a couple of more weeks, and we really want to take that time of quiet inner reflection and inner stillness. I think it's interesting how Pisces season, like Lent started today, and Pisces is connected to the fish and the Jesus fish, the Christ. So Pisces season, so Lent started today, and so it like straddles Pisces season and Aries. So it's like the end of the winter, it's the beginning of the spring. Pisces season has us going deep into the soul searching, deep into that self-reflection. And Pisces is the most spiritual of all the signs because it's the most mature sign. It's gone through all of the qualities of the zodiac, and we've arrived at Pisces. So there is this depth inside of Pisces that can plumb deep and go inward, but there's also the weakness of Pisces is that they're so generous and giving and thinking of others, and they're so willing to give of themselves to others that they don't think about themselves enough many times. And the thing is that Pisces are so happy seeing everybody else win and get their way that oftentimes they don't have enough ambition for themselves. And the key word here is desire. When we talk about light and vessel, the core of the vessel is a desire. If we don't have a desire to be near the Creator, then we won't put effort into that. If we don't have a desire to understand the scripture or the secrets of the Torah, then we won't put any effort into it. If we don't have a desire to realize a dream, then we won't put effort into it. And everything takes effort, right? And so the key, the starting point to achieving anything or gaining anything is your desire. So it's interesting that Pisces kind of have less desire. Like Aries has the strongest desire because Aries is the baby. What do babies do? They don't give to anyone, they take. They're receiving. They're like, give me food, give me a bath, give me milk, give me a nap, give me a blanket, change my diaper, and now go away. Right? So Aries has the strongest desire to receive. That's why they're very strong manifestors. Whereas Pisces don't have as strong a desire to receive. So Pisces can be very passive about taking action sometimes. So here we are beginning Lent, and we are going through that season of self-reflection and searching our depths, right? For, pain that needs healing, things that we are holding on to that we need to forgive and let go of, rising above our kind of dysfunctional attachment styles and, enmeshment and codependency, like all of these issues, all of our spiritual issues that we've wrestled with, right? They're coming up to the surface. And so while we do our Lenten fast, that is when we take some things that have challenged us about ourselves and we try to transform those things during the fast. And by fasting, by abstaining from something that our flesh enjoys, we're doing an act of self-sacrifice, and that actually helps us. It creates like a supportive, miraculous energy around our efforts to change. What's even more powerful is if you can set your intention to fast on behalf of something else outside of you, right? Like if you're fasting, praying for instance, my dad is having issues right now, health issues. So if I keep him in my prayers and focus my attention on him while still doing the work on myself, but I'm not thinking about, blessings I want to receive for myself. I'm really doing this for the sake of the world right now, and keeping him in my thoughts. And so that ends up being even more powerful. There's a Kabbalistic secret that says if there's something that you desire, if there is something that you want to receive in your life and it's like a light that hasn't been revealed in your life yet, then the most powerful thing you can do is pray for someone else to get that thing. Like if you want love and you don't have that, but like your friend also doesn't have love either, if you pray for that friend to find love, then it is very likely that you will be blessed with that thing first because you put someone else first. There's like a proverb that says, if you put yourself last, you'll be first. And if you put yourself first, you'll be last. And that references that energetic, like spiritual law, that if you put someone else before you, it actually opens up you to receive that very blessing. And that's the hardest thing to get through our ego, right? Because we're thinking about ourselves. We're like, oh, they have it and I don't. And now I'm feeling that don't have this because I'm seeing everyone around me happy. It's like, that's what our ego wants us to do. But what our soul wants is for us to pray for others to have exactly that thing that we want so bad too, and be happy for them when they get it. And that actually opens up the miracle for it to happen to us. Now, back to this winter idea. So it's like we're antsy, we're ready for spring. This whole winter has been just so crazy, but we really do need to go into that inner work. There's some things that need to be tweaked and healed in order for us to fully be able to receive what's coming in the next chapter of our life, so that we can maintain that fulfillment, so that it doesn't just slip out from under us as soon as it comes in, and with our self-sabotage or going back into our old patterns and old behaviors. So winter, we need to take advantage of those last few weeks of quiet. Winter is that time of void, of stillness, and it's a renewal, right? It's death and rebirth. But the winter, it allows the soil to rest and to recuperate, and allows you time to fertilize that soil and prepare it for the next growing season. So winter, although is not as pleasant as spring and summer, is not to be bemoaned. It's actually the true beginning of all things. So we should not pass winter's medicine up. We should not bypass that, because like the strength card is paired with winter. So this is about not only the way that winter is strengthening us and giving us that all the more patience, all the more kindness, all the more understanding, like the things that we're going through right now. We also need to draw on that strength to hunker down and give ourselves a little more patience, right? And not be so anxious to get going. So we need to use that strength to settle in and do the work, but also the fact that winter and the work that we're doing is also yielding more strength and more depth on the other side of it. Now we have the sublimation card here, which is that soul ascension that we are working towards, right? And then we have Two of Wands here with it. So I feel like this Two of Wands to me in this moment feels like this like kind of angsty energy. It's like you see this girl, she's sitting on the rooftop of her home and she's got the world in her hands, but she's just seated. She's looking out to the moon and looking out at the potential of her life and where she might go and the distances that she might cross and the experiences that she might have, but she still hasn't left the comfort of her own nest yet. So this is us in this moment. It's like we're still in this limbo between our last level and the revealing of the new story coming into our life, but we're not quite there yet. But we're getting a hold of where we want things to go and our ideas and our plans, and we're preparing in this moment to make the next move and to go to the next level, but it's just not here yet, but it is coming. We sense the vision, and we can see that like that version of ourselves out in the future, just a little bit ahead, right? We're just not quite there yet. So don't let yourself get too anxious and angsty, because that can also cause blockages as well. There's another warning of the sublimation card. So it's like we're rising out of our current level, but we don't want to become so detached, like the hermit on the mountain that isolates themselves from others or feels spiritually superior to others, right? We don't want to like separate ourselves from the fray. We need to prepare ourselves to be in the fray with the others, right? Jesus was not like the Pharisees or the Sanhedrin or the other ruling class of the Jewish people. They wouldn't go into the poor and sinful areas. They needed to be, they wanted to keep themselves pure and holy. And so they thought they would be defiled by being amongst those places and those people. And so that's what we're kind of being warned against. Like Jesus was criticized by the ruling class of the Jewish people, of the Jewish faith, for going in to the poor areas and hanging out with the sinners and the tax collectors and the undesirables, so to speak. So that's exactly what we're being warned against. Look at society right now and the divide happening in Christianity, right? Between the real Christians and the white Christian nationalists. And the divide is happening because the Christian nationalists want to distort and pervert the message so that it's convenient for their greed and their power hunger and their agenda. And the real Christians are pointing out that Jesus, his whole mission and his whole purpose and desire was to help the poor and the immigrant and the orphan and the old people. Like, he was there for the vulnerable and the people on the fringes of society. He was there for the disenfranchised. He was not there to uphold the perfection and the pristineness that already existed. And so that really pissed the people off at the time so bad that he was named an enemy of the state, and they made attempts to kill him until they did. And so Jesus was executed as an enemy of the state for being for preaching against absolute greed and power, hunger and corruption, and for having a heart to want to make things better for poor people and for the working class and for the common person. So that made him, an enemy of Rome and an enemy to the higher ups of the organized religion of the time as well. So we don't want to do that. And it can be so easy to get on a self-righteous kick. And even to like going into the fast, and if you're participating in Lent, I know a lot of people are. A lot of people do these days, even if they're not Catholic. But, be careful about maintaining your humility during the fast and not feeling holier than thou because you're fasting. It's like the whole point of this is to put yourself through the ringer a little bit. So that's like the pain of what you're giving up is a constant reminder of what it is about yourself that you are trying to overcome, right? And so what happens to Christ in the desert when he goes to the desert to fast for 40 days? He's tempted by the devil 3 times. And here we go, where there's smoke, there's fire. And sure enough, once you get into one of these holy seasons, this happens to me, oh my God, every Rosh Hashanah, every Yom Kippur, every Hanukkah, every Passover, every Lent. As soon as like the holy moment starts, it's like, here comes temptation, all the old classics, temptation's greatest hits. We've got anger, we have lust, we have greed, we have jealousy, we have evil eye, we have covetousness. Like, all of these things are going to present themselves during this time more than ever. We're also going into a Venus retrograde, right? And a Mercury retrograde's coming up. And what do those times of the year do? They bring back our old mistakes, our old patterns. Old exes come back and they're like, "Hey, I just wanted to like tempt you into some bad ideas again." So this is sort of like a testing time, right? So careful, watch out for the smoke. There's something good about smoke. It warns you, and you can smell it from a distance, and you can see it. And when you see smoke, you know that there's fire with that smoke, right? Sometimes smoke is used for good things, but when it's paired with 3 of Swords, I would say don't go into the smoke because it's going to lead to pain, misery, heartache, and suffering. Don't fall back into all the patterns that left you heartbroken and devastated and having to start over again and having to pick up the pieces. Those patterns and things that we fall back into because they're familiar and comfortable. They leave us less than and wanting, right? It's like they're not really fulfilling. When you go after something hoping that it will be fulfilling and that will give you a big rush of energy, whether that be a relationship or overeating or doing drugs or, falling into a lustful temptation, whatever it is that you think is going to give you this light, this energy that you're looking for, this fulfillment, this validation, whatever it is, that's packets of light that really are the light of the Creator. But what happens is we get focused and obsessed over the vessel that the packet of light is delivered in. And so we bypass our direct connection to the good stuff by like getting distracted and chasing after the little temporary hits that leave us hungover and empty and lonely and wanting for more and never satisfied. So pay attention to the smoke when it makes its way into your awareness. Be careful because it's probably like, when you're in like that thin ice, when you're like, ooh, I'm not safe to be with this ice cream, and here it is, or I know I shouldn't be talking to this individual, and you know, you're they're, you know, they're there and you're having a lonely moment, and you know, so it's very, very precarious. So careful, pay attention to the smoke signals. Don't fall prey, because I have a feeling that this right now, whether you're doing Lent or not, I have a feeling that this is that pause. This is that quiet winter moment before spring blossoms. And spring for us, I think, is that turning point in our life where things are going to start, like the inner change, the inner transformation it's going to be coming apparent on the outside soon. I think we're going to start seeing signs of these blessings coming in, maybe signs of like things that you've been working towards for a long time, thinking that nothing was happening. I think we are going to start seeing results. But right now we are in a testing period, right? The angels that kind of do the testing, they have to see where we're at in our growth. And so they're going to be throwing, like the devil is going to be throwing these temptations in our path to see if we're going to fall back into our old ways, or if we're going to be triggered, or if we're ready to receive what we're getting, right? Now, if like, say for instance, my channel gets huge, then there's going to be trolls. I don't have a lot of trolls, fortunately. Every now and then I do. Like, I'm like, who on earth is like going out of their way to be nasty to a person who's like trying to like go out of their way to like do something good and provide value? But there are those people. And if I took them personally, like the things that they'd said to me, like I would second guess myself. I would lose confidence, and I wouldn't be a powerful channel for the light of the Creator, because I would be thinking about, oh, are they gonna make fun of me for what I'm saying? Is this gonna be, you know, because I know like a lot of times it takes me a minute to channel these thoughts through, right? And so, you know, sometimes people like put me down for it in the comments. And if I thought about that all the time, I would feel too insecure to do these videos, right? But fortunately, I'm not really like that. I don't really care what people think. But I mean, still, like those comments, they can piss you off. And you're like, no, I cannot be disconnected from the Creator because I'm mad at a troll on the internet. A faceless troll these people never have pictures. They've never created anything. You go to their channel to see, like, what, are you a creator? Like, are you telling me this from, you know, do you have some kind of something to back this up with? And no, they're just trolls, empty trolls with an empty channel, never creating, just criticizing. So you can't get mad about that. So for instance, the Creator may not let you have something until you're ready for it, until it won't destroy you, until you are strong enough to handle the success, right? Think about all the people in Hollywood that become super successful, and the fame and the success, it's like a toxic poison that twists them and ruins their life, right? Now, some people this doesn't happen to, but some people it definitely does. I mean, like, look at the struggles that, like, say, Lindsay Lohan has gone through, and then you see someone who's been relatively stable. Of course, we don't know the behind the scenes of her life, like a Natalie Portman, right? So, you know, if you're not ready, if you don't have a solid foundation, even your dreams coming true can cause ruin if you're not prepared for them yet. So this last period of seeming inactivity is this moment where, like, God's taken the temperature in the different areas of our life to see, okay, are they ready to handle this yet? You know, are they ready to follow through? Have they put enough in to where they're going to maintain their amount of discipline and investment? Like, some people once they get the success, they're like, oh, that was great, and then they don't stick with it. So their thing starts to slide, and it doesn't maintain. They can't keep the success up because they don't keep putting the effort, because their desire has been quenched and the desire doesn't exist anymore. So we need to, in order to maintain that state of fulfillment and joy, once we get the thing, we have to maintain that desire to keep it, and we have to maintain putting in the effort. So this week, I do think that we are going to start feeling the effects of the healing that we've been through. I think we're going to start feeling more uplifted, more hopeful, and have a deeper sense of rest and inner peace inside. I think that there is this anxiety, like this like angstiness, not anxiety, but like angstiness to want this next phase to begin. We're ready to break through and break free from like the comfort zone that we've known, and we want to go broaden our horizons, and we want to see what's next. We want to get to the next level. We want something more deeper and more fulfilling and more challenging even, but we can't rush that process, right? And in the meantime, while we're healing ourselves, we don't want to become that pristine, monk on the mountainside, because it's easy to go off and be at peace and meditate and be in prayer when you're alone. But when you're having to interact with other people and your edges are brushing up against their edges, that's where the real test, that's where the real work comes in. So here we are now in that moment, and whilst we're in this moment of, oh, I'm so anxious for the party to start. Oh, I want my dreams to come true. Oh, I want to give up. Oh, I can't give up. I've got to keep going. Oh, all of these things that are pulling me from every direction that I want so badly. Like, we cannot give in to temptations. We've got to stay strong. And the more that we stay strong, the more we stand firm in our values and in the promises that we've made to ourselves, then we stay firm in those sacrifices that we've given up, that is making way for big miracles to come, right? Now, another reason why you don't want to get angry, I was going to get at this a second ago. The reason I don't want those people to make me angry is that when you get angry, you are separated from the Creator. Not only that, a negative spirit takes possession of you. And you're not even supposed to look, when a person is angry, you're not supposed to look at them in the eye, because you connect with that negative spirit. So it's not to say that you can never feel your anger or have righteous anger, because you don't want to suppress that either. But it's something that you want to notice and search within you. Okay, what is causing this anger? Is this a righteous anger, or is this anger issues that I need to work on and I need to heal in myself? So basically, the concept here is that when we share the consciousness of the Creator, when we are in like vibrational resonance with God, when we become more like Jesus Christ, who was God in the human form, that gave us the example to model ourselves after. If God was a person, what would he be like? How do we become more like God? God is a very vague, abstract everything. So how do we, a very limited, definite, defined thing, become more like that? Jesus was the example. So we need to become more like Jesus in order to draw close into union with the Creator. When we are in union with the Creator, that's when we're in the blessing zone. That's when we're in the flow, and we have the Shina over us. The Shina is the presence and power of God that we can perceive moving through our life, that we experience as protection, blessing, prosperity, wellness, well-being, fulfillment, right? But if we are in a state of lack, sadness, anger, depression, that the Spirit of God, the Shina, has no affinity with that. It doesn't connect. It can't connect because there's no vibrational resonance there. The Shina cannot approach sad, despair, and grief. So it's like you have to cultivate ways to choose to find joy, to choose joy in yourself in order to get out of that state, in order to reconnect with your blessings. Now, the thing is, our fall from grace can be in an instant because it's a matter of a shift of consciousness. So our consciousness shifts in the wrong direction, we cut ourselves off from our blessing. But the grace is that in any split second, we can also shift our consciousness back and be back in the bosom of the Holy Spirit once more, in that flow, in that protection, in that goodness. It's funny too, because today's Torah portion had to do with that spirit of anger. When that comes over a person, that spirit of anger takes possession over them, and they are it says they're controlled by a strange ill, which is like the Hebrew word for spirit. So this week, pay attention to the things that are coming up for you. If you've had temptations, if you're participating in Lent, you can anticipate those temptations and tests to come forward. But also, even whether or not you're doing Lent or not, I do believe that we are in a moment of testing, because I think come spring, I think we're going to see a lot of breakthroughs and a lot of things come through for the efforts that we've been putting into whatever you're trying to do or create. And I think that this is that last moment in the limbo, in the in-between. So don't bemoan winter. Don't get impatient. Don't rush through it. This is a time to choose your steps with intention. Pretend like you're walking across an icy lake, right? Take your steps with intention and care. All right, y'all, we will be back together tomorrow for our weekly romance message for our love lives, and see what's happening in that category. So, sorry, I lost all my words suddenly. I lost all my steam. Signing out before it gets more awkward. Peace.